What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Streetcar Shenanigans YouTube channel. If you do not follow and know this already, we are a performance shop in Antioch, Illinois. We go do any build from mild to wild. A lot of our customers come from our YouTube channel, so if you are here from previous and you subscribed already, thank you for coming back. If you are new, make sure you smash the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up before we move on to today's video, which is going to cover a few things just like the last video did. But let's get started. Alright, well, since the last time you guys got a shop update, there's been a lot that's been completed. It's only been a few days since our last upload, where you guys saw the Notch project and the Falcon going, but a lot has happened in the last few days, so we want to give you guys an update in this video, and we're also going to take you for a ride in the 2-valve that you guys saw at the end of that last one with the dyno. Now, if all that sounds like gibberish and you haven't heard it yet, click the link above my head or check out the video in the description down below. You guys will see everything that I'm talking about. It makes a lot more sense. Alright, so let's get started with the Notchback project. Huh?
Well, we did, I don't know, did a bunch of work on Cody's car since he's going on to leaving the state. Worked on Camaro.
Yeah, pretty much all day yesterday.
Yeah, I did full fluid check and stuff on the CTSV, silver CTSV from like a long time ago. If you've watched that one, which didn't get a whole lot of likes, but that's okay. Long ass time ago, we just did a little update on that since he's going out of state, taking that all the way from here to Florida. So it's kind of a hike, so we want to make sure all the fluids were good, make sure you had brand new brakes, and it was a basic, check over. We did spark plugs, early winter, no, like late winter, I should say, February or something, January, February, and wires, made sure all that was good. Cleaned all the filters, got new filters, and then we worked on Mikey's Camaro outside, the red one that you guys have seen before with the 8/8 swap in it. We did a new diff cover since that one was leaking, put a different vent in the housing since it seemed like before it didn't have one and it would push fluid out of the base of the cover, but now it should be all good. Put a new one on there, that should be good to go. Changed pinion angle a little bit, now seems to ride fairly smooth. Mikey was saying it had a vibration. I didn't notice one now, but that was pretty much what we've been up to. What we did yesterday. We had a lot there yesterday, and then got the Falcon running, a couple nights ago. You didn't see anything on that. Found some interesting stuff, which I'm sure Nicholas will fill you in on, but...
The shop right now looks like total chaos from right here.
Oh, yeah.
It's brutal in here, guys.
And we ended up deciding to wire chuck the Mustang.
Alright, so getting into the main projects from the last video is the Notch and the Falcon. Now, the Falcon was pretty interesting. We busted ass to get it done. We added a painless wiring circuit box, so that gave us 3 ignition hot and 4 constant, and that helped really get the ignition wired in and like the fan and everything like that, giving it fused power. But it is more torn apart than when you seen it last time. Bummer. Bummer for Jason mainly. He brought this car with the engine and trans in it already, and we busted ass because he wanted it running within like a few days. So we busted ass, we got it running. It still needs exhaust put on it, which showed up today, so we're gonna finish that over the weekend. But while we were priming the engine, there was nothing coming out of the rocker arms, and that's standard procedure. We always wanna make sure that's coming out of the rocker arms. But it has been sitting for a long time. We did notice there's a lot of assembly lube in the engine. So we're like, all right, well, let's fire it up. Let's let it get warmed up. Let the assembly lube move around and see if it'll start coming out of the rockers. Well, after about 30 to 45 seconds of running it, that was not the case. It did not warm up. It did warm up, but it did not start pushing oil out of the rocker arms. So after going back and forth with him a little bit and him getting the previous owner of the engine involved and this and that, we decided to just look for the obvious things that small block Ford owners overlook, and we have in the past also. First thing is that the XXX roller block that's in this motor has 2 bungs to hold the spider tray, and when paired with a certain cam bearing, if those are not plugged off, it will bleed off oil, and then the lifters will not pump oil to the top. So we knew, and then there's also a main galley plug in the back of that block that will bleed off oil if that's not plugged. So we're like, okay, it was making 70 pounds of oil pressure, but it wasn't making its way to the top. So then we decided we had to investigate closer, which led us to believe that the intake was probably going to have to come off. So the first thing we did was pull the rocker arm off, pull the push rods out, and look down into the camshaft to see if it was in fact a roller cam. We were told it was going to be a roller camshaft with an X303 camshaft. That was not it. Not only did it not sound like a Roller X303 cam when we started it, but once we got in there, it was actually a solid flat tappet camshaft, and I actually have the lifters. So we put a borescope down in there. We primed it with the borescope in the top of the lifter, and nothing was coming out from the center of the lifter. It was all coming out from the sides of the lifter. So we knew there was going to be an issue there. So then we decided to pull the intake manifold off and investigate further. Once we pulled the lifter out, we realized that the lifter was completely solid. There was no oiling hole in the lifter to pump any kind of oil to the rocker arm. So no matter what we were going to do, it was never going to get oil to the top end of the engine. So a good thing we only ran it for about 30 seconds to experiment that way, and we started pulling it apart to figure it out because it did need a new set of lifters. Now it's probably going to need a different length push rod because these...
We were not advised doing what we did. We were just advised by...
Oh, yeah.
We didn't even want to run it.
Yeah. We were against running it when we primed it and no oil came out, we were against running it. But the owner really wanted us to run it. And then talking to a couple people, they said, well, if there's a lot of assembly loops, sometimes it'll cause that. But we did not get oil out of one single rocker arm, which we've never seen before. So we ran it. Nothing got injured. Nothing got hurt. Nothing got galled up. There was tons of assembly lube on everything. So, you know, it was fine. But my gut instinct was to tear it apart before we even started it, because obviously something was wrong. All right. That's the Falcon project. New lifters, new push rods coming. Maybe you guys will see that later in this video. Otherwise, it'll be in the next video. Let's move on to the Notch. It's looking pretty good. Last time you guys saw it, there was no engine in it. So that's already a big change from what you guys saw last time. The blower is mocked up. It's just kind of bolted on. But all the brackets are powder coated black. The engine is in. We just ran the spark plug wires. Dan has been hustling to start wire tucking it. We're like, hey, let's see if we can wire tuck this thing with a factory harness. So there's nothing over here. It is all in here. It's ramped up along the strut. It's going to be in here. So we got to do some final finish work on all that. But for the most part, that's where it's going to be. We got the Cobra brakes on it that he supplied. He dropped those off yesterday. A couple crazy things. So we decided to put all stainless steel brake lines on it, so those are on their way. We pulled the current ones off, so we're waiting for brake lines. We have to put a bigger fuel pump in this thing. So we pulled the tank down. And the inside of the tank, I'll post a picture because it's not going to be easy to record, but the inside of the tank is completely rotted. Check this out. Nasty. Just pure gross. So we have to replace the tank now, and we got to get a new hanger. As you saw in the picture, the hanger was also starting to rust. So pretty much puts the kibosh on making this thing like a roller this weekend, which was kind of our goal. Now it's going to be a little bit more work, a little bit more time consuming, but it's good to find these things before it gets plugged up with rust and then the brand new injectors we just put in it. Anything else on the Notch? It's looking pretty good. Oh, so we got these adapters we ran on the Lightning, but it does not fit the track heat intake over on that one. So we're probably gonna have a single breather element here and then just put an oil fill cap on that one. We'll see how that goes. Still got the coolant system to finish. I think we're going to put my electric fans out of my car in here. And that's going to pretty much wrap up the engine bay. Put the Holley injector harness on it. Then the intake manifold. We need an intake spacer because it hits the valve covers.
And we'll clear that.
Yeah, I did get around that, yeah. It's all the little stuff that adds up to a lot of time. And we already have a lot of time in this project. And now we're getting into where the actual lot of time is usually spent.
Well, just picked up the powder coated parts from Bullseye Customs. They did a great job yet again. We'll have to show you the valve covers when we get to the shop. But cruising around the 2-valve, and it's going pretty well. It is extremely loud. Yeah. You get to hear a little bit blower, but a lot of exhaust. Dan at Bullseye Customs got a pretty cool little twin turbo LS Bel Air. Going over some gremlins, but got to see that. That was kind of cool. It's different for sure, but neat nonetheless.
I think anybody in like a mile radius is gonna hear this thing.
Oh yeah, this thing's obnoxious. But yeah, everything seems to be working well. We got a new fuel pressure sensor for the gauge, so now that actually works properly. We deleted it had like a line going from the sensor, or from the rail to the sensor. So it was a little like remote located almost. We didn't think it looked very good. At least, you know, originally we were like, we're gonna leave it because that's what it came with. But once the sensor went out, we were like, we're just gonna mount it directly to the regulator, so it's more accurate, which it actually is working as it should now that the sensor's good. Oh, nice little C10. Single cab short bed. It's pretty cool. So, 2 valves going well. Sure, we'll get you a little better driving footage tomorrow. I think John and John are coming to pick it up. Hopefully they love it. I mean, it makes over 100 more than it used to. And it's on the 85 just like they wanted. No check engine lights. Wide bank gauge works. So, yeah. I would say it's so far so good. Feels pretty good. Bushings are actually working very well in the rear, but the rear end makes a little bit of noise.
I was gonna say almost too well now.
Yeah, right.
Now you can hear a bunch of rear end noise.
Yeah, that's the downside of once you go to solid stuff. You start to hear anything and everything. A little bit of blower whine.
A little bit. Just a little bit.
Maybe they'll bring the Fox down too. Did you record that ever? They got a nice little cruiser as well, like an emerald green Fox body. We did a little catback on his son's other car, Cobalt SS. So it was a quick little job. Well, guess a little update here. It is nighttime. We've been doing it for quite some time now, but we got the valve covers back on the New York car, and Master's back on. Hydro Boost is back on as well. Look at that. Got the new tank on there. Minty fresh. Cleaned up the engine bay, wiped it down a little bit, cleaned out the spark plugs holes. Obviously got new valve cover gaskets, got those all installed, everything's tight. I'm gonna get new spark plugs to put in it, and then we are going to check the vacuum line routing, and do some fuel lines in the engine bay. I think we're gonna switch to the black coated stuff to, you know, kind of keep the black theme going and make it all nice and clean so you don't see it as much. Not much of an eyesore, I would say. But like I said, everything is more or less all back together on it, and pretty happy with how it came out. This is becoming to be a new favorite coating color, this wrinkle black. It's not as textured as some other wrinkles you would see, but we like it a lot. So looks good. And obviously we welded on AN bungs, so we're gonna make an AN lines for a catch can, and that obviously went back there too. That should pretty much wrap this up. Once we get it all back together, we will bring you an update on it, and hopefully it should be running and driving. Still, of course, waiting on tires for this. So if anyone knows where we can get some Toyo R888Rs, 315 30 18 or 305 35 18, that would be wonderful. Or if someone's got some laying around, that, you know, hit us up, message us in the comments down below, or send us an email, check Facebook page, and see what we can do with that, because it would be great to have this thing on all 4 of the Salines. Look at that. It looks way better in the front. Oh, also did a LED conversions on the front headlights and fog lights. So now we'll hopefully be able to see out of these things, because factory lights or whatever halogens did not do so hot in night. Couldn't see anything in front of you. I'm sure the fog lights will be brighter than the headlights still, obviously, because they don't have any smoke to them. But at least you'll be able to see at night. A little wrap up on the New York car. Nicholas is welding away on the Falcon. Got the X pipe pretty much all done. Obviously finalizing the welding on it. Boiler Pro XS's, as you've seen on other cars, personal cars, Brian's Lightning, a couple other ones. We can't wait to see how this one sounds, since it sounded super rowdy the other night when we started for the first time. Sure that these mufflers will sound great on it, but like I said, we'll bring an update in the morning, hopefully with it running. Push our length is all good, should be good to go.